Good, happy Sunday morning, May 29, 2022. I'm Riley King. Welcome to this Sunday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Sunday morning, so let's get started right now. First step, Bedford friends buying and delivering goods overseas to Ukraine. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
For over 25 years, Bellegarde has paved the way in the hardscapes industry, providing customers with
An air raid siren rings out in the city of Lviv, but no one flinches. Two friends from Bedford filmed this just days ago.
Life is pretty much going on as normal. Brian and I went to an auto parts store after having a minor incident with the van that we were driving, and an air raid siren went off, and nobody really seemed to flinch. It just seems to be part of the daily occurrence here.
John Fitzgerald and Brian Nolan have been in Ukraine for the past 2 weeks. While life in Lviv appears to have returned to a relative sense of normalcy, outside the inner city, it looks much different. This is why Fitzgerald and Nolan have traveled to a war-torn country to help in any way they can.
When they find out we're Americans, they're stunned because they don't think of us as a particularly benevolent society as far as caring about Europe.
Last month, they were in Poland delivering supplies to refugee centers. Now they're on the same mission in Ukraine, renting a van, buying and delivering food and necessities to those who need them.
The majority of them actually are women and children.
Between their two trips, they've raised more than $100,000 for donations through a GoFundMe page.
And we deliver directly. There's no middleman, there's no overhead, there's just the two of us. So if you're looking for your most effective way to help in this Ukrainian situation with the refugee crisis, this is one of the best things that you can possibly do.
Just amazing work by those two. Nolan and Fitzgerald are flying home to New Hampshire on Wednesday. And if you would like to contribute to their GoFundMe page, you can visit this story on our website or mobile app.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Boaters ready for summer despite soaring fuel costs. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Chapel Tractor has been in our family since 1955, when great-grandfather Pearlie and grandfather George decided to sell tractors.
Gas here at the Winnisquam Marine going for well over $5.50 per gallon, but that hasn't stopped any of the boaters we spoke to from going out this weekend.
It is what it is, right? You just, you do what you got to do, and you try to pretend that it really doesn't hurt when you give them your credit card.
Boaters on Winnisquam Lake are launching into summer. While gas prices across the country continue to soar.
A normal summer will go through like 3 tanks, and it's a 45-gallon tank. So I'm dreading this because it's going to be like $200 to fill the tank, but,
I don't even know what's costing now, but it is what it is.
While prices are high on the road, on the water, they're even higher. Winnisquam Marine is one of the only places in the Lakes region selling fuel for less than $6 per gallon.
So a lot of people don't understand on the water that we can't take a big tanker, so we have to pay above pump prices. So a big tanker gets pumped into a smaller tanker, and we try to make it reasonable for the people out on the water.
I drive a pontoon boat, and they're efficient. We shut it off half the time. Of course, they're going to go wakeboarding and do that stuff, and that's where this thing blows through the fuel, but, I work all winter just for this.
Well, boaters are bound to spend more on fuel. Winnisquam Marine says they're still anticipating a busy summer.
What it costs you $20 on the water for a day of fun for 8 hours with 15 to 16 people now costs you 35 to 40. So not at all. Maybe they sit at the sandbar a little bit longer, but definitely not deterring anybody.
In Winnisquam, Scott Cook, WMUR News 9.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Derry police officer recovering after being struck by a hit-and-run driver, authorities say. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
We believe it to be a newer model Mitsubishi Outlander, color white, and it should be missing its passenger side view mirror.
Is that because it hit the officer?
That's exactly what struck the officer, yep.
Derry police searching for this vehicle on your screen after an officer was struck during a traffic stop. That officer now home recovering after suffering what police describe as a serious arm injury. This all happened just after midnight on South Main Street. Police say that officer pulled over a different car when the suspected vehicle drove by, hit the officer, and kept driving down Route 28. And tonight, police have a message for other drivers.
Obviously, to provide enough space for people that are or officers that are conducting motor vehicle stops.
And if you have any information on this car or its whereabouts, you're urged to contact Derry Police. Live in Derry, Hannah Cotter, WMUR News 9.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Rabbit rescued from house fire in New Boston. Cause under investigation. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The past year has tested the toughness of every last one of us. Mahindra tractors have been there.
A home in New Boston is a total loss tonight after a fire broke out this afternoon. Crews responded to the home on River Road shortly after 2:30 Saturday and were met by flames and heavy smoke. You can see it right there. Luckily, no one was home at the time, but a few firefighters suffered minor burns trying to contain the flames. We're told a bunny rabbit was safe from the home.
Bad that they lost the house, but nobody got hurt, seriously. So we're happy with the results, and we're happy with all our mutual aid towns that just supported us amazingly. So
we're told all firefighters are expected to be okay. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Man charged after allegedly driving 120 miles per hour on I-89 in New Loudon. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Now's the time to get a great deal on taking care of your property. You need the #1 rated...
New this morning, a Massachusetts man facing a reckless driving charge after driving nearly twice the speed limit on Interstate 89 in New London. Authorities clocked Thomas Corvey, they say, at 120 miles per hour in an area with a speed limit of 65. Corvey was pulled over, then released on a summons to appear in court at the end of August.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. %70 of baby formula out of stock nationwide. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Next tonight, the growing baby formula shortage. 70% of formula supplies now out of stock nationwide. The FDA announcing millions more cans of formula will soon be flown to the U.S. from Australia and the U.K. This as the administration is again invoking the Defense Production Act for a third time to ramp up supply. Here's ABC's White House correspondent, Mary Alice Parks.
With store shelves still barren across the country, tonight communities organizing giveaways to help desperate families in need of baby formula.
I have no baby formula for my baby for the last 2 weeks.
An estimated 70% of the nation's baby formula supplies now out of stock. In Dearborn, Michigan on Friday, cars lined up for nearly a mile waiting for formula. Volunteers struggling to meet the demand as some in line were turned away empty-handed.
I'm just overwhelmed at this point.
Just this this week, the FDA announcing it will bring in millions of cans of formula from companies overseas to help address the shortage. Among those shipments, at least 1.25 million cans from Bubs Australia expected, and more than 2 million from Kendall NutriCare in the UK. The Biden administration also invoking the Defense Production Act for a third time, instructing American companies to help boost supply. On Wednesday, the First Lady greeting a second emergency shipment of specialized formula at Dulles International Airport near Washington, D.C., part of Operation Fly Formula. But for families and local public health officials across the country, more help cannot come soon enough.
Just yesterday, I got about 20 calls from others. I mean, that was just yesterday.
Mary Alice Parks joining us now. And Mary Alice, you mentioned that shipment being flown in right outside Washington, D.C. just days ago. When can Americans actually expect to see that formula on store shelves?
Yeah, with that shipment included Gerber specialty formula, enough for about 1.5 million 8-ounce bottles. Now, those cans were first sent to a distribution center in Pennsylvania and are now headed out to hospitals, WIC programs, and retailers. We are told they should be out for delivery as soon as this weekend.
Okay, Mary Alice, I know a lot of parents looking forward to that. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. And that is it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great day, everyone, and goodbye.